Let's talk about the three ways that you can prove that triangles are similar. And let's just remind ourselves what similar means. Similar means that they retain the same shape, meaning the angles are all congruent on any shape. I'm going to focus on triangles. And the sides are in a proportional relationship, meaning one shape can be, every side could be multiplied by the same number to create a new shape. Okay, so that's what it means to be similar. There are three ways to prove that triangles are similar. The first way is referred to as angle, angle. Now, I'm going to just put here, because years ago we used to always say that was angle, angle, angle. But I want to explain why it's kind of been shortened. What this means is that you have two pairs, angle, angle, two pairs of angles that are congruent to one another. Now, we all know that all three angles have to add up in a triangle to 180 degrees. So if you know these two angles, you can solve for this one. And if you know these two angles, you can solve for this one. So if we've already established that we have these pairs that are congruent, then it follows necessarily that these last unknown ones also be congruent. So that's why, we used to say it's angle, angle, angle. As long as you have all these angles that are paired up, you've got these congruent angles, then they're similar to one another. But actually, we don't really even need the third angle, because if we've established that we have two pairs, well, then it follows necessarily that the third pair also be congruent. So that's the first way. And again, all that means, angle, angle, is that we can establish that we have two pairs of congruent angles. And it will follow necessarily that the third pair then is also congruent. So let's just make a note here. All angles congruent. The next way is side, side, side. Now, when we would prove congruence, we were looking to pair up sides and say, oh, those two sides are the same, those two sides are the same, those two. Well, that's not going to be true in similar triangles, but it means that all sides have a, proportional relationship to the corresponding side in the other triangle. So, simply what that means is that if I said, well, this one is 5 and this one's 10, you'd say, okay, so I doubled the small one to get the bigger one, that side. Then if I knew like this side was 8, well, then this side is 16. And if then I said, well, this side is 10, well, then I know this side is 20. That there's this proportional relationship where the corresponding sides, so 5 gets doubled to 10, 8 gets doubled to 16, and 10 got doubled to 20. It's the same multiplier for each side. If the minute that all of a sudden it's like, no, this side's that side's not 20, that side's 21, well, then these things aren't the same proportion anymore. You don't have the same multiplier, so they would not be similar. So side, side, side in triangle congruence simply meant that we had three pairs of congruent sides. In similar triangles, it means we have three pairs that all have a proportional relationship, and they're all the same proportion. Okay, so that's another way to prove triangles are similar. The final way is side, angle, side. And what this means is that if we can establish we have two sides that have that proportional relationship, I'm going to use the exact same proportions I use, like this. And the included angle is congruent. So two sides with a proportional relationship. I'm going to just kind of shorthand this a little bit, relationship and congruent included angle. Because we know from using the law of cosines that if we have this relationship where we can say, well, I know two sides and I know this angle between them, through law of cosines, I can necessarily figure out this side. I have enough information. Well, if we've already established that these two are proportional pairs, well, then we're going to be able to solve and find out that these are as well. So again, side angle side is a congruence proof as well, but instead of the sides being proportional, they would be congruent. Okay? These are the three ways that you can prove that triangles are similar. Figure out the angles are congruent, figure out all the sides have a multiplier that transforms, and it's got to be a common multiplier, got to be the same for all the sides. And finally, if we have two sides that are proportional, but the angle between them is congruent, we can prove triangles are similar. If this video helped you, please like and subscribe for more geometry help.